No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the debate that we had about Rudy Gobert when you said that he's
Hmm.
an elite perimeter defender. Because objectively, if I say Rudy Gobert is a terrible perimeter defender,
Hmm.
you say that that's objectively wrong
Yes.
because there's numbers to back that up. And
Hmm.
so I'm saying it's like, okay, there can be numbers that back that up for sure, but the numbers only tell half the story, or a portion of the story when we talk about like I think I had a back and forth with somebody in the chat about that. I think it was Ace 30. So like if Rudy Gobert doesn't get scored on, right? If
Hmm.
he gets switched out on to a like the point guard, right? And all of a sudden after a pick and roll, he's on the wing. The wing breaks him down and he tries to go to the cup or whatever, and he doesn't score off of that, right? Then Rudy Gobert, like that doesn't go into his stat line, the one that you're looking at in terms of like, okay, Rudy didn't get scored on, so Rudy defended that particular scenario perfectly. You know what I mean? That makes him a better defender. But what it doesn't take into account is if he does get broken down, right, and the defense collapses, and then they score off of like subsequent, passing. You know what I mean? Like kicking it out to the corner, that's an open three. Or if he refuses that shot, he then penetrates, gets an open layup in that way. So that is not going to show up on Rudy Gobert's stat sheet ever in terms of like Rudy getting scored on. However, that is still Rudy's fault because Rudy was unable to stay in front of that first, offensive player that broke him down, made the defense collapse or whatever. So it's if the second and third dominoes don't fall if the first one doesn't, and if the first domino is Rudy Gobert, that's Rudy's fault.
I agree with that completely because it's very similar to my playmaking take on what's considered playmaking, making the first domino fall. The reason why I don't think that applies to Rudy Gobert is based on the fact that I've watched Rudy Gobert. He's very rarely the first domino to fall. If anything, the dominoes fall before him, which causes him to overhelp, which leaves someone open, and that's usually Rudy's man because he's the one helping.
If it's just a pick and roll and they switch, that's not
Rudy
a
Gobert in a switch on a pick and roll, like the numbers they do say that he's one of the best in the league. It's very hard to me, even if you don't watch the game, it's very hard for me to believe that there's a chance that you go from having the best numbers in the league on a per possession basis to just because they didn't score in that possession to if you watch the game, there's a reason that he could fall anywhere below average in that situation. From one of the best in the league to below average simply based on him being broken down off the dribble. I don't believe that could be possible. And I watch enough Rudy Gobert to say, he doesn't get broken down off the dribble a whole bunch compared to how people believe he does. And
then how do
second,
you explain him getting hunted in the playoffs?
because if you have the best rim protector in all of basketball, you want to get him further away from the rim. That's just logical. The Celtics and the Warriors did it with Robert Williams. He's the best rim protector on the court. You take him away from the rim just because he's less effective out there than he is at the rim. It doesn't mean he's ineffective out there, but you would rather take away someone's biggest strength, which is Rudy
Yeah, but
Gobert's
now
paint
you're
protection.
switching it from perimeter defending
Yeah, but
to
you
rim
take
protection.
the reason they want to get Rudy on the perimeter is because he's so much better inside. You want to take him away from there. It's not about getting him on the perimeter. It's about getting him away from the interior. I believe it's more about that than it is about getting him out there. And also they don't, from my eye, they
Yeah, but
don't
just because you
hunt
believe that
Rudy.
doesn't mean just
They
because.
just play small. And the reason they play small is because the Jazz perimeter defenders can't stay in front, which means Rudy has to go help in the paint because that's his job. You take away the layups. But in that turn, the domino already fell when Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Bogdanovich all get blown by. Rudy comes and helps, and they're kicking out and they're playing the extra passes because the Jazz rotation defense is terrible. That's why they're giving up so many threes. That's why Rudy Gobert seems to be the one that seems to be the liability because every time he comes over and helps, they're playing extra passes. They're finding open threes. Dallas did that to them routinely. And then if you watch them against the Clippers when they went small and they had Terrence Mann in the corner and Rudy would have to go help because Paul George beat someone off the dribble, Reggie Jackson, whoever it was. Rudy Gobert's coming over to help. They're
Like all these
finding extra
scenarios
passes.
really
That's
don't
not
matter to
Rudy's
that.
fault.
Just listen, man. All these scenarios really don't matter because what I'm trying to say is, if there's a defender right out on the perimeter and he gets beat, that's not an elite perimeter defender. That's all I'm saying. All these scenarios that you're kicking with Rudy Gobert and now he's having to play help side and this and that or whatever. I'm not talking about none of that. I'm saying If you put Rudy Gobert on the perimeter and he has to defend somebody and he gets beat routinely, which he does,
He doesn't.
that doesn't make him an elite perimeter defender. The way
But
that you're saying.
I don't believe he gets beaten routinely. I've watched Rudy Gobert in isolation. He doesn't get beat routinely. I've watched Rudy Gobert in pick and roll, whether he has to switch or whether he's playing the big. If he's playing the big, he's never getting beat. He's an elite drop defender. He can hedge the pick and roll, whatever. But if he has to switch, he's still not getting beaten routinely. If anything, he's probably, you got Royce O'Neal for the Jazz, like over the last few years. You probably got Royce O'Neal and then it's Rudy. They're the two best perimeter defenders the Jazz have had. It's not Donovan Mitchell. It's not Bogdanovic. It's not Mike Conley. Those guys are always the ones being beaten. Rudy Gobert, every time he's out on the perimeter, he's doing a better job than those guys. And he's doing
I don't know why you're
trying
to shift focus to them. Like, I'm talking about Rudy Gobert and his
perimeter. Yeah, and I'm talking about
defensive
him
ability.
On the perimeter. He's defending those guys at a very high level. The reason, like, the Jazz don't just have a great defense because he protects the rim. They have a great defense because he can do he does everything for defense on them. Like, if you're talking about perimeter defending bigs, you got Bam Adebayo, who's in a league of his own. Like, just centers, not power forwards, Anthony Davis, whatever. They don't really count. Centers alone, you got Bam Adebayo in a league of his own. He can guard legitimately, point guard, shooting guard, everyone. After that, Rudy Gobert is damn near the next best thing. And that's factually based on the numbers. And that, for me, if you watch him and strictly watch him on the ball, and you don't just watch him against Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, those guys, you watch him against damn near any guards, he's doing a very good job. He's doing a sustainable job. He's not a liability out there. He's a good perimeter defender. He's just so much better inside.
You forgot AD more.
I want him there.
I forgot AD.
I tried to leave him out because he's a power forward, but AD would also be in that Bam Adebayo tier because he can damn near guard everyone as well. But Gobert one-on-one in isolation is doing a very good job on these guys. He's got the length to contest threes, and he's not slow. He's not slow-footed. He can recover if someone gets a step on him. He's long enough to get them from behind. He's not forcing much rotation from the Jazz. He's not giving up extra kickouts because those guys try to score on him and they miss their shots. They miss because of his length. He disrupts guys. He's a very good perimeter defender by my eye. If you disagree, that's fine, but at least we're talking about basketball. It's the player choice way. Them boys don't get it started. The player choice way. You're the player choice way. Come and switch lanes into the player choice way.